Hello and welcome to yet another graph video. In this video, I will not be solving a competitive programming type of problem. I'll be solving a generic data structure problem. But this video is very important. Please do not skip it. It is very important build up for the next problems that we'll be solving. So let us look at the problem statement. You are given a data structure. What is a data structure? It is a structure in which you can hold data. So let us say in this data structure, you're holding the numbers 4, 3, 2, 9 and 11. So this data structure should support two types of operations. The first operation is an insert operation. You should be able to insert any number into it. So let us say you want to insert 13, you should be able to do it. The second operation should be the retrieve operation. Okay, when you retrieve, you should be able to retrieve the smallest element. So if you retrieve, you should be able to get 2. So 2 is removed from this data structure, you should be able to get 2. Retrieve again, you should be able to retrieve 3. Retrieve again, you should be able to retrieve 4. Now if you want to insert 15, you should be able to insert 15. Retrieve again, you should be able to retrieve 9. 9. Insert 3, 3 should be inserted. Retrieve again, you should be able to get 3. All these operations should be supported by this data structure. By the end of this video, you'll be able to very clearly understand how to build this data structure. But this is a very important problem for this is a very important concept for our next problem. So let's look at a few implementations. So let us first try and solve this problem with vector, and in the process we will demonstrate why we should not try to think linear always. So let us say we are given 10 elements or 6 elements, 6, 4, 2, 9, 11, 8. Okay, so the first step, you have to sort them in their descending order. So we can sort them as 11, 9, 8, 6, 4, 2. Now you can say that retrieval is very easy. Why? We just have to pull out the last element. Just pull last element out and reduce size of vector. It will just take one operation. So first time you pull, you'd get 2 out and you destroy the last element. Next time you pull 4 out and you destroy the last element. So retrieval is easy. It can be done in order of 1. What about insertion? Let us say you have to insert 12. So the appropriate place to insert 12 would be here. But that would mean I need to move all these elements by 1 unit. My vector of 0 is now 12. So what was originally my vector of 0? My vector of 0 originally was 11. So I have to make 11 sit in vector of 1. And vector of 2 will become 9. Vector of 3 will become 8, so on and so forth. So whenever I have to insert, worst case I have to do order of n operations. Generalizing, if we use a strategy where we can insert in O of 1, that would imply retrieval will take O of n operations. On the other hand, if we take a strategy where we can insert in O of n strategy, then retrieval can be done in O of 1. So there is a trade-off. Either you can insert easily or you can retrieve easily. You cannot do both. And this is why you should not always try to solve every problem in a very linear fashion. You need to try to think multi-dimensionally. I know I'm going into a bit of philosophy here, but it was important that we discuss this right now so that you are able to appreciate why graph theory is so important and why this video is so important. So before we get started, let us introduce a few concepts. First, let us introduce the concept of tree. We have come across these terms before. Okay, this is not complete. This is connected. Okay, so a tree is a connected and acyclic graph. What that means is, this is a tree. Why? There is no cycle. This is a tree. Why? There is no cycle and it is connected. Let us say you have a few more nodes and vertices like this. Now this is not a tree. Why? Because it is not connected. It has to be connected. One single connected component. One single connected component. The second thing is there should be no cycles. So what that means is connected. Okay, what that means is there should be no cycle like this. This is not a tree. So if it is acyclic as well as it is connected, then we can call it a tree. Okay, typically, not typically, the tree will always have n-1 number of edges because it is connected and acyclic. So what that means is if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices, then you will have 4 edges. You cannot have more than 4 edges because each edge will connect 2 different vertices. So it will have n-1 edges, where n is the number of vertices. Okay. So rooting a tree. What does rooting a tree mean? It means simply we are defining parent, child, ancestor, subtree. All these relationships are well defined. What does that mean? First, you look at this whole thing as a graph. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Is this a tree? Yes, it's a tree. But is 2 a child of 1? Yes, 2 is a child of 1. Is 1 a child of 2? Actually, 1 also can be a child of 2. Why? Because from 2 it is possible to get to 1. From 1 it is possible to get to 2. But when we root a tree, we will define it as the ancestor, ancestral parent, and 2 and 3 will be specifically called the children of 1, and 1 will be the parent of 2 and 3. So 1 is equal to parent of 2, 1 is parent of 3. Similarly, 2 is child of 1, 3 is also child of 1. So we are defining these relationships, and this whole subtree 2 and 2 to 4, it will be called a subtree of the bigger tree. 1 is called the ancestor of all these nodes, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for 4 has 2 ancestors, 2 and 1. 5 has 2 ancestors, 3 and 1, etc. So when we root, essentially what we are doing is we are defining parents, so rooting a tree. Rooting a tree simply means to define parent, child, ancestor. If you are able to define these relationships, you are rooting a tree. What does that mean? So you have a graph like this. Okay. Now, if you are calling one, if you are rooting at 1, rooted at 1, what that would mean is 1 is the ancestor of this entire graph. Okay. So 1 is the parent of 2, 1 is the parent of 4, and 1 is the ancestor of 3, 9 and 8. But 2 is the child of 1, 4 is the child of 1, and 2 is the parent of 3, and 4 is the parent of 9 and 8. However, if you are rooting the tree at 2, visualize this, then 3 will be the child of 2, this will be the child, 1 will be the child of 2, 4 will be the child of child, the grandchild of root, and all these nodes will have 2 as the common ancestor. So this sort of relationship definition, parent, child, ancestor, etc., that the way when we root a tree, we clearly define these relationships. So that is the meaning of rooting a tree. Binary tree. This is another important concept. A binary tree is a tree where it's a rooted tree, and each node has max 2 children. So is this a binary tree? This is a binary tree. Is this a binary tree? This is a binary tree. Is this a binary tree? This is not a binary tree. Why? Because there are 3 children. Is this a binary tree? No, this is not a binary tree. Why? There is a cycle, not a binary tree. So a full binary tree. This is a binary tree where every level except the last level have two children per node. Have two children per node. In other words, at each level, the number of nodes will be doubled. Let's see what that means. So before we get started, this is also a binary tree. This has 5 levels and 5 children. 5 levels and 5 nodes. Okay, this is also a binary tree. Now let us look at a full binary tree. In a full binary tree, this is level 1, so it will have 2 children. Level 2, each of the node will have 2 children, so 4 vertex. Level 3, each of them will have 2 children, so total of 8 vertex. So this has 2 power 0 vertex, this has 2 power 1 vertex, this has 2 power 2 vertex, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 power 3 vertex. Every level the number of vertices will be doubled. So in other words, the height of this tree, if there are n vertex, the height of this tree would be order of log n. Why? Because look at what would n be? N would be of the form 2 power k minus 1. So in this case would be 2 power 4 minus 1. 2 cube plus 2 square plus 2 power 1 plus 2 power 0. The answer is 15. There are 15 vertices. That is of the form 2 power 4 minus 1 is equal to 16 minus 1. That is 15. So how many levels are there? 4 levels are there. So there will be 2 power k number of vertices and there will be k levels. So this is a very compact tree, and that's why the max height is of the order of log n, where n is number of vertices. Okay. A complete binary tree. A complete binary tree is a binary tree that is full until the last but one level, but the last level is incomplete. What does that mean? So is this a full binary tree? Yes, it's a full binary tree. Now, if I have something like this is a complete binary tree. Why? Because it is full up till n minus 1 levels and or k minus 1 levels, and the last level, the kth level, it has incompleteness. Even if it was like this, it is a full binary tree. So all complete binary tree are full, and all full binary tree are complete. I beg your pardon. But all complete binary tree are full till last level, till k minus 1th level, and the very last level is incomplete. Okay, what is the advantage? The same advantage, max height. So let us try to make a complete binary tree with 12 nodes. So first vertex, total 2 vertices here. So till here we have 3, 7, see we have 12 vertices here, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And what is the height? The height is only 4. So this 12 will round it to the next power of 16, next power of 12, next power of 2, next power of 2. It becomes 16. So 16 can be written as 2 power 4, and we have order of log of 2 power 4. So that is equal to 4 levels. Okay. So the advantage of going for a complete binary tree is it's very compact and we can reduce the maximum height. So these are the terminologies. So now let us look at heaps. These are a special case of binary tree, complete binary tree. So we will see what that means. For our example, we'll use a min heap. Okay, we can also look at a max heap, but let's look at the min heap, which is like a gravity heap. A min heap is a heap where all children are larger than parent. and it's a CBT, complete binary. We'll see what that means. So 2, it has 2 children. So is this a CBT? This is a complete binary tree. So 4, 6, 8, 9, 7. This is a complete binary tree and it is meeting the criteria. 2 is less than 4 and 6. 4 is less than 8 and 9. 6 is less than 7. Therefore, it is a minimum heap, min heap. Now, in case of a max heap, is to introduce 8, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1. So this is a CBT, a complete binary tree, and every parent greater than all children. So this is a case of a max heap. Okay, in fact, we'll be using the other data structure, the min heap data structure, to answer our problem statement. If you looked at the problem statement, we should be able to do insert and we should be able to retrieve. So we'll be using min heap to solve this problem, and let us see why it is better than the linear approach.